Hey Pisces, welcome to your December 2017 tarot reading with Oracle if necessary and a little bit of astrology. So there's a lot of activity in your house. This is the 12th house. You're the last of the zodiac signs, so you're a very spiritually mature sign. Water, mutable, meaning changeable, flexible. And although some astrologers attribute the element of water to you, many, because you are so spiritually advanced and empathic and intuitive and spiritually minded, looking at something beyond what's just here at this face value in this third dimension. A lot of astrologers give you or assign you the element of ether, or the fifth element, the spiritual element. So you're very important, again, intuitive, empathic. On those notes, it's very important to protect yourself. So if you are spiritually minded as you're watching this, I'm guessing you are somewhat, it's not a bad idea to protect yourself when you go to very busy places. I usually recommend other signs like Cancer and Scorpio, other water signs, but particularly intuitive, empathic signs, definitely like yourself, that they protect themselves. So, spiritual baths, when you're going out in public places, cover your eyes, maybe wear sunglasses if it's reasonable to do so. Maybe cover your head, not a bad idea. Okay, so as I said, you are the 12th house, the final house, the spiritual house, the beginning of movement between this world and the next. So again, you're particularly sensitive to things of the other worlds, the alternate universes or multiverses, or some people refer to it as the veil that separates us from different dimensions. So you're very sensitive to that. Ruled by Neptune, which interestingly enough is in your zodiac sign, in your part of the sky, the 12th house, and is recently gone direct after having been retrograde for some time. And during the month, right around the full moon on the 3rd, it makes a beautiful trine with Jupiter, strangely enough, your co-ruler. So Jupiter is in the sign of Scorpio. He is there illuminating what is in the shadow, what is there for us to dig deep and learn about. Okay, it's making a fantastic trine, Jupiter is, with Neptune gone direct, and that is exact on the 3rd of December. So a wonderful opportunity to make things happen for yourself, to manifest your dreams, to set intentions to manifest your dreams. It's a very fertile time on that day. So again, Neptune, very much your ruler, your co-ruler being Jupiter. So very active, although maybe not all in your constellation or all in the 12th house, having an impact. Now there's another sign of note in your constellation in the 12th house, which is Chiron, which is in retrograde. Chiron is the archetype of the wounded healer. This is the person or the archetype that is wounded him or herself, but still manages to heal others. This speaks to very often old childhood traumas, old wounds that still affect us today and affect our thinking and affect our self-esteem, things like that. When he is in retrograde, in the archetype, he's traditionally male. He is rethinking, reconsidering, remembering old pains, old wounds, and looking at how they are motivating him today. So right now, in this time and time and space for our collective soul and for us as individuals, we're all really looking at ourselves, doing that self-reflection, that shadow work to figure out why we do what we do collectively and individually. This is stuff that you really understand. So as I said, you're very sensitive to other energies, but you're also very sensitive in the heart. So you're very romantic. Also very artistic and creative. So if your medium is not necessarily painting, you are still very creative. And again, that aspect of Neptune trine Jupiter, your co-ruler, at 11 degrees, strangely enough, which is the master number of service, which you are all about, serving the other. Again, that's why you're the most spiritually mature zodiac sign, the last and the 12th house ruler. that makes it an incredible time to not only do things that satisfy your own creativity or to try to bring manifestations to yourself, but the energy is such that it's going to be something that actually benefits others as well. So it's a very potent, fertile, positive time if we use the energies the right way. Although the outside world may seem crazy, and poor Pisces and other intuitive signs and empathic signs are probably going, oh, I want to hide. And it's understandable. The world is crazy right now. But we're building up to something. We're building up to a new change. We're building up to the next level, the Aquarian age, jumping to the fourth and fifth and sixth dimensions. We're moving, we're evolving. We truly are evolving. So, all right, enough blubber. Astrologically, other things to consider this month, I'll try to make this quick, are the opposition that's occurring between Uranus, who's currently in Aries and is retrograde, and it's a direct opposition, so 180 degrees opposition. This can either be a good thing or a bad thing, but it is a thing, and it's a thing that impacts us. So it can manifest itself in a couple of ways, and I'll give you a couple of examples. The Mars is the ruler of Aries, and Aries is the first house. The first house of the zodiac is the most young and immature zodiac sign. I'm not having a go at Aries here. I'm just saying they are the youngest of the zodiac sign. They're very new. So the first house is all about the assertion of I am, of me, kind of me first. Not always bad, because that's important. You know, that's an important thing to do. But it's at odds with Uranus, ruler of Aquarius, who is all about the collective. So what you might see is a butting of heads as it relates to the assertion of the will of the individual versus the assertion of the will of the collective. So once again, as we've been seeing on the world stage anyway, collectively we'll see this manifest in arguments, nasty ego-tripping arguments between world leaders, stuff like that. But also, we'll see this as ideals. So we'll see it as, what's the word I'm looking for? Activism. Revolutionary time. Now, on another note, another thing this aspect would bring is the fiery nature of Mars feeding the innovative, fast-changing energy of Aquarius. So, you know, arguments, although they seem uncomfortable, ultimately end up with growth if we're smart about it. And then the concept of, you know, it helping move along change, helping that Mars energy helping to push the progressive nature of Aquarius's ruling planet, which is Uranus. You know, this could mean faster moving activism, faster moving revolution, also improvements and enhancements in technology. We might be looking at new inventions, innovative ideas, innovative concepts that perhaps have been in the works for a while, now suddenly exploding on the stage. Like maybe just throwing something out there, the explosion of robotics, you know, at less expensive prices, so that we find ourselves using artificial intelligence and robots in the house. That kind of example is what I'm giving you. So that's the nature of that. It's the energy that we're talking about. Let's see. Okay, Mercury, excuse me. Mercury goes retrograde on the 3rd and will remain retrograde until the 23rd. It's a difficult aspect for those ruled by Mercury, not only because of the retrograde, you know, the miscommunication and the technical issues that can occur, but for our Mercury-ruled friends, Virgos and Geminis, it's particularly hard because right around the beginning of the month, that Saturn is creating a square with Mercury. Now, luckily, Mercury is kind of a quick-moving energy, but because Mercury is going retrograde and forward and retrograde, it's having an impact right around the galactic center, actually, which is an important place on the natal chart, the universal natal chart. It's going to visit and revisit this square in conjunction with Saturn. And what this is when you think about Pisces, not Pisces, you're Pisces. When you think about Geminis or Virgos or people ruled by Mercury, you think of thought, you think of analysis, you think of problem solvers. So not only are Virgos and Geminis dealing with the miscommunication and the technical problems and the haziness of information that the Mercury retrograde brings, they are also dealing with the restrictive energy of Saturn, making this close square and then later conjunction and then square again because it's going back and forth. Mercury's going back and forth. It makes things restrictive on top of an additional need. So there's enhanced need for problem solving when communication is shite, right? But then when you throw in the restrictive nature of Saturn, it's got our Mercurian friends bumping their heads up against the wall. It's so restrictive, it can be depressing. So if you've got friends that are Virgo or have strong Virgo or strong Gemini in their chart, you know, show a little love because they're having a rough time this month. Okay, am I missing anything? On the 21st, around the solstice, Saturn goes into the 10th house. This is Capricorn's house. The 10th house as an individual has to do with our reputation in the world and our work, our reputation at work, our careers, and things like that. On a more collective thing, this has to do with tried and true institutions. So court systems, governments, businesses. Now, there's a lot of different opinions on what Saturn returning to the 10th house can mean. Remember, Saturn is a restrictive energy, so Saturn tends to be about rules and laws and regulations. I think, and maybe I'm being hopeful, really hopeful here, but I think that coming to the 10th house means a much needed regulation and separation of business and government. As it is here in the United States, I can't speak for everywhere, but in the United States, most of our regulatory agencies that are intended to protect consumers and citizens are rendered toothless because of the nature of our lobbyist government, meaning lobbyists basically, well, our legislators sell their souls to the highest bidder. So just giving an example, let's say the CEO of Purdue Chicken, which actually has had very close ties recently to this administration, but just had for the past few years, actually, it's been an issue with neoliberalism. The CEO and major stockholder and board of directors head of Purdue Chicken now has bought his way into the Food and Drug Administration, which will affect regulations on how that industry, the Food and Drug Administration, does business. So I think this oversight, this restriction of Saturn in the 10th house is a good thing. Others have different opinions. How you feel it individually might be, because Saturn is about responsibility and you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to dot your I's and you got to cross your T's. This could be about you, things that might have slipped before or you've gotten away with before, maybe not so much now. So, for example, if you are late on your credit card payment and they've been kind and they have not reported you to the credit reporting agencies, or they have not, or they've reversed late fees or something along those lines, you might find that, no, they're not going to do that now. That's the nature of Saturn. This is how it is. This is the policy. This is what we do. Okay. So just make sure that you're doing everything you're supposed to do. And if you haven't been, just expect the repercussions, the restrictive energy of Saturn. And that's going to find itself in all areas, not just how you balance your checkbook, but also, are you taking care of yourself? You know, are you eating right? Are you brushing your teeth? Are you, I don't know, exercising? Things like that. Are you taking care of business? Remember, Saturn tends to rule the knees and the bone structure, the skeleton, and the teeth. So, you know, keep that in mind. Saturn comes home to check everybody's report card and make a decision on whether things can carry on or not. So my goodness, oh my gosh, 13 minutes of me blabbering, not even getting into the tarot. So we're going to do obviously a very quick read. This is a tarot reading based upon the supernal triangle, or the top 3 placements of your respective tree of life. So if you, there's a lot of them out there. So if you happen to follow the Kabbalistic tree of life, this would be Keter, Chokmah, and Binah, the top 3 Sephira, the supernal triangle. If you follow the Kemetic tree of life, this would be the supernal triangle of that. So that would be the top 3 placements. This would be Amenasur, Tehuti, and Sekert. Okay. If you follow Jungian theory, this would be superconscious, conscious, and subconscious, and that's what I'm going to be using today. I am using the Thoth, or the Tehuti deck. This is the deck designed by Lady Frida Harris, painted and designed and beautifully illustrated. So much symbolism by Lady Frida Harris, who was a member of a particular elevated magical system She's British, I think. And it was also co-created by Crowley, by Aleister Crowley. And most people are familiar with him. She did most of the work, and she was a very learned adept in those European magical systems that totally robbed from Kemetic tradition. That's another story. All right, just a couple more shuffles for Pisces for December 2017. What energies do Pisces need to be aware of? Pisces, mutable, water or ether sign, ruler of the 12th house, very spiritual, very empathic, very intuitive. Holy Hecate, cosmic soul, tightness, and creatrix of this universe. What does Pisces need to know for December 2017? Mutable Pisces, ruler of the 12th house. What does Pisces need to know for December 2017? Oh, thank you. Super conscious. You got the Aries card in reverse. This is the God source, your highest self talking to you. Conscious mind, the Capricorn card in reverse. We've got some people here we're looking at. And then subconscious, prudence in reverse. Okay. So, starting with super conscious, when we're looking at court cards here, we're usually looking at people. So it could be just an Arian energy. But super conscious is warning you of the low octave of Aries. So as I mentioned earlier, Aries is it rules the first house, which is about the assertion of the will of I am, of me first. There's wonderful things about Aries. They're initiators, they're cardinal signs, but they are the youngest of the zodiac signs spiritually. And the low octave of that can be a me first type of mentality. So either you're dealing with that energy, you're exhibiting that energy, or there's an Aries in your life that's exhibiting that. And it looks like there's a Capricornian energy as well on the low octave. So Capricorn is another cardinal sign, a little bit further on the spiritual evolution, excuse me. But not quite where you are. It's an earth sign, it's a cardinal sign, which is an initiator sign, a starter of things. On the low octave, a Capricorn would be so concerned with security that they throw their friend under the bus. They have a strong fear of keeping things secure in their life. They have wonderful attributes too, but we're talking about the low octave here. So this is either a Capricorn in your life that is displaying this type of attribute. They are throwing you under the bus, maybe a work colleague or a family member or even a friend. They are, and another low octave thing with Capricorn is they are so afraid of hurt. So remember, security to them is financial security, structured things. They're ruled by Saturn. But they also are terribly afraid of being hurt. And so the low octave of Capricorn can also be shutting off emotions, shutting off expression of emotions, and being too afraid to express emotions or get involved with emotions. And then finally, unfortunately, in the subconscious, we've got prudence in reverse. This is the sun in Virgo. On the upright, this is the 8 of coins or discs or pentacles. And it is building toward an accumulation of stability. That could be health. That could be things. It could be finances. On the low octave, there is a lack of prudence. This is called prudence. And so what do we know about prudence? Prudence tends to be about kind of the Saturnian energy. Are you analyzing everything carefully? Are you dotting all of your I's? Are you crossing all of your T's? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you saving your money? Are you spending your money frivolously? And that's what it looks like here. It looks as though you might be, and this is the vibe I'm getting, Pisces, is that you're spreading yourself too thin. Either you're dealing with an Aries and a Capricornian energy on the low octave, or they are an Aries and a Capricorn in your life. And you're not... you're ruled by Neptune, okay? And Neptune has no boundaries. It's kind of the collective on a spiritual level. So there's no, you have an understanding of the truth of how the universe works, which is there's no you, there's no me, there's no camera, there's no card, there's no hand, there's only energy. We're all one. There's no separation. And that's true. That is the truth of the universe. However, in a three-dimensional world, we are suffering the limitations of Saturn, the manifested world. And that said, there is a separation between you and me. And this brings us back to boundaries. Are you giving too much from these people? In other words, the Capricorn here, are you, and this is what it feels like, people in your life. Are you the one that always calls them? Are you the one that always makes the plans? Do they fall through on the plans? Are you the one that always throws the parties? Are you the one that always has the dinner parties, the family events, whether it's friends or family or relationship, if it's a coupling? Are you the one that's always expressing your feelings? Are you the one that's always bringing home flowers or giving gifts with no reciprocation? Okay. And are you the one that's always doing something first? Are you always caring? This is the low octave of Aries. Are you putting yourself last? Are you giving too much to this Aryan energy? So I think with Prudence in reverse here, we're talking about you reserving your own energies, reserving your own life force, reserving your own essence. Because just remember, yes, there is no difference between you and me. There is no, I mean, we're all one is what I'm saying. And you understand this very well. But in this world, where things are limited by 3 dimensions, you may be giving away too much of your essence, too much of yourself to people that are not reciprocating, to people that are glad to take until it's all gone without much thought for your source, whether it is gone. Remember, if you give until your bucket is empty, they don't care, their buckets are full. However, yours is empty. How do you fill it back up? So and again, this kind of, with all this activity in the 9th house and the new moon in the 9th house, this might be giving you you might be really feeling the reminder of the new moon on the 18th, which happens to happen in the 9th house, Sagittarius. You might need to draw some boundaries in your life. I know you don't like to do that. I know it makes you feel like, oh, I don't want to be cut off from people. That's not normal. And it's not. But sometimes people, because you're not showing them where the boundaries are, they don't know. So I'm not saying these people are bad, but they're displaying a behavior that's depleting you. You need to show them where the boundaries are so they know, oh, that pisses you off. I didn't know. I'm so sorry. Right? And then you can figure out who's going to be the asshole and who's going to be like, well, fuck you. I don't care. See what I mean? I hope that helped, Pisces. But yeah, pretty specific here. And it looks like a Piscean energy. So if you're a Pisces and it didn't seem like there's a Capricorn and Aries in your life that it resonates with, we might be looking at you just doing too much for everyone else and not replenishing yourself, your time, your needs, your sleep, whatever. Okay, I hope it helped. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing and sharing if you feel it will help someone. I will see you for the lunations this month, and then I will see you next year for the readings in 2018. Have a wonderful holiday season, solstice, Christmas, Hanukkah, Ramadan, Kwanzaa, you name it, whatever you get down with, enjoy it, and I will see you next year. Okay, take care, Pisces.